how are you doing? Welcome to Nanya. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn on the notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying massive shout out to every one of you for all the love and support you all give me here. I am truly grateful. Thank you all so much. Before we get into this video, I am saying a massive shout out to Lava the Best Man, because this man creates amazing content. And if you do not have him, if you are not following him on TikTok, I am going to leave the link to his TikTok. Click on it and go subscribe to him. His contents are amazing. So let's get straight into today's video. And it is the act about the casual killing of the slaves, right? He started by explaining that any slave who resists the masters or the mistress or the overseer, and it is if you are killed because you resisted correction, the person who killed you gets away scot-free without getting any punishment. Why? Because you were resisting correction. I mean, just correction, right? And he went further to say that it was created in order to prevent white women, right, from getting any punishment for killing innocent black babies, right? And this is why police says stop resisting arrest, because if you are killed by resisting arrest or resisting their correction, it justifies your death, right? And this is how stop resisting arrest became a moment in white history. You know what? This video is, woo! Stay glued to the screen. I am just going to roll this clip. We'll come back to talk about it. And I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. And straight up, let me roll the clip.
Hey, good morning. Here's a moment in white history. James A. Garfield was born in 1831. And by the 1870s, he was running for president of the United States of America. In his only major campaign speech, he said this to 50,000 people in New York. Gentlemen, ideas have outlived men. Ideas outlive all human things. And all that we mean today by our meeting as veterans and as comrades is to stand as a sacred guard about the truth for which we fought. We have seen white men betray the flag and fight to kill the Union. But in all that long and dreary war, you never saw a traitor under a black skin. In all that period and terror and distress, no Union soldier was ever betrayed by any black man anywhere. And as long as we live, we'll stand by these black allies of ours. We will stand by them until the equal sunlight of liberty shall shine upon every man, black or white, in the Union. Citizens of New York, thank you for this magnificent demonstration. Thank you. Thank you. And in 1880, James A. Garfield became our 20th president of the United States of America. But what he didn't know at that time, he had a Stan who believed that he should be a part of his cabinet. His name was Charles Guiteau, and by today's standard, we'd say he was somewhere on the spectrum. In 1875, his family claimed that he was insane and had him committed, but he escaped. That's when his mania became violent, and he said that he was called by God to kill the president and make things right. Now, during this time, the president didn't have a personal security team around him. He was free to roam as he saw fit, even though 16 years earlier, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at the Ford Theater. But people assumed that, well, that happened because a war was on and nobody would kill another president. And so they published the president's itinerary every day. And wouldn't you know it, good old Charlie Boy was reading the newspaper and found out exactly where Garfield was going to be. So on July 2nd, 1881, as he was headed off to vacation, he stopped by his alma mater to give a speech. He had both his sons with him. The Secretary of State, Blaine, was with him, as well as the Secretary of Defense, Robert Todd Lincoln, was with him. And as they were talking, Charles Guiteau walked up behind the president and shot him twice, once in the arm and once in his back. He tried to run away, but he was captured, and when they asked him, "Why'd you shoot the president?" he said, "Because I'm a stalwart, and I want Arthur for president." And as the angry mob of white people grew around him, they did what they always do. They called for his lynching. Now, the stalwarts were a group of Republicans who wanted Grant for president instead of Garfield. Think of them as the Republicans who wanted Bush for president instead of Gore. And while the angry crowd was taking care of Gateau, Garfield was taken to an upper room where doctors could better examine his wounds, which happened to be the worst thing to happen to Garfield since being shot. See, these doctors were examining his wounds with unwashed hands and unwashed utensils. They were sticking their filthy fingers into his bullet wounds, trying to find the bullet, and when they stuck their longest finger in as far as it could go and couldn't feel anything, they start sticking in sticks and rods and canes to see if they could find the bullet. And all they did was successfully introduce an infection to his body. The medical team of doctors were led by Garfield's childhood friend, Dr. Willard Bliss, whose hard work and determination ultimately led to the death of the president. You see, Dr. Bliss was one of those people who didn't believe in washing your hands, and every time he inspected the president's wounds, he did so with filthy hands and filthy utensils. He prescribed morphine and wine for his pain, gave the man fatty foods saying that he was just a little weak. Give him some prime rib. That ought to perk him up just right. And every day the president grew worse. So much so, Alexander Graham Bell was brought in. See, he had just developed a device that could detect metal within the body, and he wanted to use it to find the bullet within the president. So Bell waved his device over the body of the president until he was alerted to the sound of metal. He told doctors, "Here, cut here, that's where you'll find the bullet." And with unwashed hands and unwashed knives, they cut into the body of the president to find no bullet. Bell's machine had picked up on the metal springs in the mattress beneath the body of the president. And that's how the first metal detector was invented, which was proof that his device worked. But Dr. Bliss only allowed Bell to examine one half of the president's body. Bell would have found the bullet had he examined the other half, but Bliss was like, "No, you can only do it once, and we're not doing it again." No! So for the next 10 weeks, the president lay in bed, having good days and bad days. And as summer wore on, it got hotter and hotter in his quarters. So naval engineers created a crude version of an air conditioner by stuffing 6 tons of ice in a container and blowing the cool air over his body. And on September 19th, 1881, James A. Garfield died of sepsis. And most historians and medical professionals agree that if they had never stuck their filthy, unwashed hands into the man's wounds, he would have lived. Even Charles Guiteau said, "Yeah, I shot him, but it was the incompetence and ignorance of Dr. Bliss that killed him." And that's how we got the term ignorance is bliss. Even though Garfield fought for the rights of African Americans, he didn't do that for Native Americans. He hated them. He wanted to eradicate them and wipe them off the face of the earth. And that's how James Garfield, the air conditioner, the metal detector, and the phrase ignorance is bliss became a part of white history and indigenous history. Hey, good morning. A moment in white history. Okay, let's talk about the Casual Killing Act of 1669. You see, in those days, Virginia was still very much a colony, and it had a unique problem. White women. I promise I'm not picking on white women, I'm just being historically accurate at this point. You see, white women had become a problem in colonial Virginia. Some were married young and were pissed off at the older men they were forced to marry. Some were frustrated from just being a woman in colonial Virginia, while most were pissed off at the caramel-colored babies running around their plantation wearing their husbands' faces. You see, slavery was a white man's sexual fantasy come to life. It was his own sexual playground, to do with these enslaved women as he pleased. There was no such thing as a consensual relationship between an enslaver and the enslaved. So whenever he wanted it, he got it from whomever he wanted, be it male, female, enslaved, or not. And this pissed a lot of rich white women off, to have a husband who's no longer sexually attracted to you, but is out making 6, 10, 12, 15 kids with some enslaved African woman. So these white women would take out their frustrations on the bodies of these innocent children who did nothing more than simply exist. You ever watch Looney Tunes or Tex Avery cartoons and you see somebody get hit in the head with a frying pan, hit in the head with a rolling pin, had hot water poured on them, had hot grease poured on them, poke them in the eye, Three Stooges style? These are the things that rich white women would do to these caramel-colored babies. So many mixed-race babies were being killed at the hands of white women that something had to be done, because you couldn't arrest a white woman because that's just simply unheard of. So in October of 1669, King Charles II of England created the Casual Killing Act. Pause to read. In so many words, it says that any slave who resists his master, mistress, or overseer and is killed because you resisted correction, then the person who killed you gets away scot-free. And this was created in order to prevent white women from seeing any punishment from killing innocent black babies. And this essentially fixed the problem of white women killing black people. They could say that, oh, this slave resisted correction and died in the process of me correcting him, and they got away scot-free. Which is partially the reason why police say stop resisting. Because if you are killed for resisting their correction, and they told you to stop resisting, that justifies your death. And that's how stop resisting became a moment in white history. Hey, good morning. A moment in white history. Okay, let's...
Once again, Internet, I come to y'all with some food. And I just got something quick to say. So watch this video, okay? Watch the full thing so you understand what he's saying. But a quick synopsis is, he's basically saying that this king, British king, created this law that prevents white women from going to prison for killing these black children. And they would kill them because they were upset that most of them ran around, these enslaved places looking just like the daddies. And when I say daddies, I mean the white men who raped them, their husbands. And this king created this law so that the white women can say, hey, I was just correcting a slave. That's why I had to kill him. Doesn't this sound too close to stand your ground?
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is, you see why I always bring this man's videos here, because they are extremely educative. And trust me, I do not know all this, and it is amazing getting to learn this from him. And trust me, I mean, this is absolutely amazing. Woo! And you know what? I will keep bringing, because like it comes in series. This is like part 7. There is another one that I am supposed to play, but it's a whole lot. Like, it's gonna take up so many space, and I will be bringing that up soon too. And if you have something you want to add to this video, please, I'll definitely will be checking out your comments. Let me see what you all got say about this. And thank you so much for all the support and love. I will see you all in my next video. Bye for now.